Hello ladies and gents, welcome to CG Reaction. This is Trump 2.0, A New World Order by channel Jonathan Pai. Yeah, saw one of the latest videos from Jonathan Pai about Ukraine-USA deal breaking apart. I thought it's gonna be something like a news anchor type thing, some kind of like a take on something, right? Because that's how I saw from the thumbnail. Like, okay, this looks like a British guy. I'm guessing somebody who's been around something. It's gonna be some like a news take. No, it was as British can be. A complete curse-filled rant. Basically made me remember Jeremy Clarkson. So yeah, I can't wait to watch this one. What his take is gonna be here, because I'm guessing he was that angry because of how Ukraine's deal fell apart and how Trump basically threw Ukraine under the bus in a way. Don't comment. As soon as I said that, I know like people started to jam, like keyboards and started commenting. I'm not making any comment like that. I mean, USA do whatever USA want to do. I'm not saying what you need to do or whatever, right? I guess that's what Trump wanted, right? Whatever. But I wanted to see what Jonathan Pai thinks of Trump when he got elected, actually. Was he calmer or did he have same level of anger? So let's watch this one.
Four years ago, he left Washington in disgrace, but looking at the reception he's received today, he has returned a conquering hero. Let's take a look at some of the day's highlights.
Okay, so he is that, okay? He is calmer here. He's not as angry at Trump. I thought he was just gonna start cursing there or something. But okay, I guess it was the Ukraine deal that made him angry.
Who wrote that? A conquering hero? Fucking hell. What's that? Snowflake? Me? Oh yeah, because 4 years ago when Biden won fair and square, all the MAGAs were all going, oh, I'm so sad. Oh, let's go and hang Mike Pence.
I just said it, man. As soon as I said it, the clip resumed with him with an angry rant. Okay, he was doing that news guy thing. Like, oh, by the way, camera's off, I can speak my mind type of shit. Okay.
With the snowflakes then, yeah? I once believed that Trump was a blip. A skid mark of history, and yet, as it turns out, did you see that Piers Morgan has suggested that Trump could win the Nobel Peace Prize? And he might be right, because, you know, this administration, it's going to go for the big boys. Yeah,
I mean, look, their thinking is Obama won it, why can't I type of thing. And other thing is anybody, like, I'm not a political guy until very recently when I'm watching all this political shit. But even I knew what was happening back then. Trump having influence in Republican Party, changing how things work in the background, his and his people, and Republican Party actually listening to him. It was a clear thing, like, next time Trump is definitely coming back, right? If he lost this time somehow with Biden or like the other one, right? If he lost it, then he would have been done in Republican Party, because even if people like him, they were like, okay, you can't win, so go away. But he did win, and he was always coming back, so it was never that thing. Like, they were changing the rules and things, changing people in place who counts vote and things like that. So shit were already happening in past 4 years. Like, news were constantly popping up, like they are doing this, they are doing this. Trump has this influence, Trump has that influence. His whole team of people who had this plan for like Plan 2025 or something, right? So the shit was already like in play. It wasn't a spontaneous thing.
Famous axis of evil, Panama, Canada, the UK and Greenland. Yeah, he's considering taking the Panama Canal and Greenland.
Anyway, Canada got angry, right? Like, I'm pretty sure like there was some thing about, like, I didn't watch any video, but Trudeau just like, okay, screw that, I'm keeping the tariff or something. Like, even Trudeau's like that, okay? Canada being angry, just like, be like, is that really happening?
And by military force and annexing Canada, which is no different to how China talks about Taiwan or Putin about Ukraine. Pure despotism, if that's a word, bullying its own allies by either threatening invasion or crippling tariffs. Step in line or we will destroy you, with Musk mooting that America could liberate the Brits from their tyrannical government. That's after he called on our unelected monarch to mount a coup d'etat. And half the UK clapping like seals, going, well, I'd rather have a foreign invasion than Keir Starmer in number 10. I mean, we know that Trump and his billionaire minions don't respect their own democracy.
People like that always existed amongst the people who thinks of the other side. There was a lot of Nazi sympathizer even in World War II in every place. The problem is nowadays people have voice because of internet. That's the only difference. And sometimes that voice feels like a big majority than it is. I highly doubt it's like a half of people. I highly doubt that. That's the problem. People always think like, okay, this is happening, so it must be like a half of people thinking that. No, it's just people who have that kind of thinking are really passionate and they just want their voice to be heard. So they are more vocal than the other.
So, of course, they treat everyone else's with contempt, unless, of course, they're right-wing populists, in which case, you know, from MAGA to MEGA. Make Europe great again. They love Maloney, they love Orban, the AfD, which is as near to actual Nazis as the Germans have gone since, well, the Nazis. This should send a shiver down everyone's spine, but it doesn't. Why? Well, Labour cut winter fuel payments, so I think Elon Musk should decide who runs the country. The spectre of the richest man in the world trying to buy...
Like I said, people like that always existed who says fuck it and just like, yeah, that kind of thing. Okay, I'm not talking about Trump here. I'm talking about the people who's like, yeah, screw it. Like, let our monarch overthrow the government or something. Because I guess, you know, like if Elon Musk and Trump said it or some similar shit like that, it must be true. People who don't put more than two thought together and just like mix decision. People like that always exist, right? And every place where every kind of issue arises, there are always people like, why not do this? Fuck it. Like, do you know the historical context? Do you know how easy of a slippery slope that is? But yeah, these people don't think about it. But the point is, I don't think these people are in that big number. Statistically, there are people with insanely low IQ score. That's how statistics work, right? Even military don't accept these people because they're like, okay, what are they going to do type of way. So, you know, there are people who can't put more than two thoughts together, right? So it's just what it is, right? I don't think this is going to matter that much when actual shit happens, when, you know, when policy is put together. Like, yeah, this is just voice. It's just like something fuel for news media. That's it.
Reform into government should give us all pause for thought, but it doesn't, does it? Why? Well, because Rachel Reeve is a twat. What happened? What happened? We lost. That's what happened. The left have lost. We've lost the argument. We've lost our relevance. We've lost the plot. The left have forgotten what being left-wing is, to the point where the left, we're not even on the left anymore. We've handed our natural territory to right-wing populists, right? When I was growing up, being left-wing was all about freedom of speech and free expression and bridging the gap between rich and poor. But then the left liberal elite decided en masse to abandon the class struggle and instead alleviated the guilt it felt every time it avoided eye contact with yet another homeless person by petitioning the local arts centre for gender-neutral toilets.
Yeah, there was I don't know, I think it was Jim Jeffries who made a skit about muskets, right? Like back in the day when people got angry, they had muskets and they're like, well, you disrespected my wife, I'm gonna shoot you, and just like loads the muskets, put the powder in, you know, do the stick thing and put the, you know, whatever, like ball in for the musket. And by that time, enough time has passed and like, you know what, you're all right. I was angry for no reason. For years, that's been true in political spectrum for any issue. People are like, oh, you know, like there are no jobs. All right, shit is getting too costly. And just like there is anger like that because that's been the case every single time, doesn't matter, like 20s, 30s, 40s, like there's always been the case. There have been wars, not just like bad economy. But people like get angry, they just like put themselves together, they read a paper, they read a news, they only hear about things that is like, you know, like core situation, not everything, only core situation in like major news or newspaper. They make their mind up based on that and like only important things move forward, right? Nowadays, people get angry in like their social media. They realize that there are many people like that. Oh, if I'm thinking like this and other million people thinks like that, that must be true. So fuck it, we are the only one who's true. Everybody can go screw themselves. Then there are people who are like very receptive to suggestion. Like, okay, they are saying that must be true. Like, I don't care what I can think for myself. They are saying that. So it just like community grows. The modern issue where left becomes too left, like left is no longer there, right thinks very differently, extremist groups are like kind of taking hold, and like even the common people who don't associate themselves with that realize what their people are saying, this extreme group of people, like wait a minute, that is true, my job sucks, like okay, immigrants are taking my jobs and all this shit, like they're just instantly without giving it more thought, like multiple days rather than just like 5 minute thought, and they just assign themselves to that. This is creating extremes. Internet is the problem, right? Everything has pros and cons. Free information is great for many things, but it's also bad for shit like this. That's the problem.
Democratic Party amazed that by abandoning the working classes abandoned them. And look at the Labour Party here. Labour. The clue is in the title, and yet they spent half of last year unable to define what a working person is. No wonder they are about as popular as a cancer diagnosis, with many of their natural supporters treating Nigel Farage like the second coming. When you concentrate on diversity quotas rather than crippling economic inequality and tokenistic socially progressive sticking plasters while completely ignoring the poverty-stricken, look what happens. American companies abandoning diversity, equity and inclusion wholesale, because now we see that the right have won the culture war, because the left have done nothing but try and win the culture war for well over a decade. Although Trump dancing with the village people has probably done more for the gay community than any diversity quota ever could, let's be honest. But when the left ignore people's genuine concerns over immigration for fear of seeming a bit racist, you get nasty, opportunistic populists enacting mass deportations.
Yeah, the problem is left people in power are kind of weak. Let's just be honest. That's the problem here. Only reason right has a lot of power because left can do shit. Even if you ask right wingers, like what if left wingers were like more commonsensical and like actually did something about immigration, actually accepted, like okay, illegal immigrants are a problem, we need to secure border. The right wingers will be like, you know what, that guy's all right. Like I don't agree with him in many policies, but I'm not talking about all people, like majority of people who have common sense, who can think for themselves. They say, you know what, that guy's all right. Because you need to realize, Obama got elected twice, right? There are a lot of right-wingers who voted for Trump now, voted for Obama. You need to realize that. And Obama was one of the worst guys when it comes to drone bombings. Nobody had bombed any place more than Obama did with the drones. And he was a left-winger. So the problem is that, like, you need to find a guy who's a left-winger, who has left-wing cores attached to him, but he also has common sense and also can appease to everyone. Not just like, okay, I will look bad if I say this, so I can't say this. How about grow a set of pair? If it looks bad, then looks bad, right? Focus on what your core thing is. Let the message out what you're thinking, right? What you want to do. Problem is, these people won't say something, right? Because fear of outrage, but they still kind of do some of that in the background because that's what they want to do. That's their ideology, but they don't want to say it. So people will never realize that these people are doing those things because they never say it out loud. Because most people will not see all the papers and like all the list of federal bureaucracy, what people are doing, what politicians are doing. They just hear them and they're like, oh, this guy's idiot. And some of them don't even do core shit or address it out of fear of outrage. And these core issues become the primary issues for people. Like, why are you not addressing that? And there you go, you're out of office next time. So this hurts the whole party, man.
The left abandon free speech, the right pick it up and they run with it. And then they own it. And then we get to a point where anyone can say anything about anyone and just label it free speech. Where defamation laws are ignored by billionaire loudmouths. Free speech, innit? And the people at the very top can lie and lie and lie. Free speech, innit? When the left offer no solution.
Free speech does not mean free from consequences. You have free speech to say whatever the fuck you want against everyone. But that doesn't mean your employer won't kick your ass out, right? Because if he thinks like you're not doing the job right or whatever. Free speech doesn't mean free from consequences. It's just you can see it, right? Not consequences for the speech itself. That is what free speech means. You can't get prosecuted for free speech. But if you like, like just say anything, like be racist completely and all that shit, your employer and everyone can decide, like, you know what, you're not really fit for. It's like, okay, I'm not going to throw you in the jail because that is against the free speech, but I'm still not going to employ you. You have freedom to go anywhere else, but not where I am. So free speech does not mean freedom consequences. And what he's saying here is right. Like if you don't protect free speech, the other side will make it like even worse. It's like a spring effect, right? You need to keep it in balance. You didn't do that, now it's in the opposite direction, where like free speech means like you can do any fucking thing. Be racist, be anything. Like that's not, look at the YouTube, you can't even say certain words. Like that's against free speech. Now people are just gonna like either abandon YouTube or go somewhere else and be as racist as they can be. And like overall it just hurt people, isn't it? Like you need to make things in like middle.
People will begin to believe the lies of the right. And so what we get is a capricious, bloated, ill-educated, oppressive authoritarian in charge of the world's supposed greatest democracy, with a drunk Fox News host running the military, a world wrestling mogul running education, and the guy that hundreds of health experts...
Oh yeah, Vince's wife is like running education. Look man, all I'm gonna say is this, at least it's not the one that Trump chose in the first time, who didn't even understand what a fucking education system is. You remember that one in 2016? Like, Linda was, I'm pretty sure she was trustee or something, right, of the WWE. So she knows how business fucking works at least, right? So at least something is there, right? And she was like a major part of WWE for like decades now. And WWE is like a very complex organization. So at least something's there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what her views are going to be about, but I guess we'll see.
Experts say will be a danger to the nation's health in charge of the nation's health. And that's before we've even got to the head of the all-new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, as it's known, which is there to slash...
Seriously, when I saw the Doge, wait a minute, why does it sound like that? You know Dogecoin, that dog meme coin? But I'm pretty sure it has a D in the middle, so but that doesn't matter. I'm like, Doge? Wait a minute, are they trying to name after that? That's just weird to me.
Government spending, mainly on Medicare and Social Security. By the way, Elon Musk stopped paying his Social Security payments for this year on January the 1st at 12:15 a.m. thanks to the Social Security tax cap. But Musk believes the only reason the American economy is fucked is because of overspending on public services whilst receiving billions in subsidies. Not so much...
I don't blame Musk. I'm sorry. Like, okay, if you hate Musk, I don't blame Musk because Musk is not an elected official. Only reason Musk is there doing all this shit because he's allowed to by Trump, right? And Musk is one of the richest people on the planet. So of course he's going to look for his own thing. It's like, I'm not going to blame Musk here because Musk was never elected. It's the people and the people, the electors official, right? It's between them, not the Musk, right? It's between Trump and the people who elected Trump and all the other congressmen and things like that who allow this shit. I'm not going to blame Musk here. Musk is doing what Musk wants to do right now. He's a billionaire. He's looking out for his own interests. I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Dodge as tax dodge. When you're that rich, the world is your fucking chessboard. And the three people at the very top of the government have more...
Rich people buy cars. Rich people buy boats. Musk is buying rockets and trying to go to Mars. You can't really compare Musk with anyone else. Musk is doing that so much. Bezos like, what the fuck am I not doing that? And just like he created his own shit. Blue Origin or whatever, right? And the other one, like, what's his name? He also created it. I forgot his name, the third rich guy who's also doing this shit, right? Who also has a company, who also put people in like spaces recently or whatever. I forgot his name.
More wealth than the bottom half of America, with a massive concentration of ownership and wealth than at any time in our planet's history. America is, as of midday today, a fully fledged tech bro oligarchy, a dangerous plutocracy of unaccountable and untouchable real-life Bond villain billionaires who between them could solve almost all of the world's problems, but instead they've decided to have a race to see who can get to Mars the quickest, whilst paying as little tax as possible. A new set of world leaders that no one voted for, who have more money and power than any company that has ever existed. And of course, Keir Starmer understandably will go cap in hand, hoping to rekindle that special relationship. But my guess is it'll be the sort of special relationship you get when you pick up the soap for a fellow inmate. A new...
After what happened with Trump in Ukraine, he better like butter up Trump, right? Because if he doesn't butter up Trump, Trump's going to have the similar response to Starmer, right? Okay, go fuck off type of thing.
World order. A re-emergence of serfdom, a society where a select few own all the robots and all the money, and everyone else just rots because there aren't any jobs left because the robots have got them. And so the gap between the super rich and the super poor becomes so vast that it is almost like there are two species of human. And a select few will own more money, more power, more data than the rest of the entire world. And at that point, nation-states and the role of government and democracy itself becomes obsolete, which sounds terrifying to a snowflake like me. And all because the left have offered no alternative.
Yeah, the problem with all this shit is like if capitalism becomes like that, it becomes like a like a distance dystopia where rich are ultra rich. You know that like dystopian like like cyberpunk type of world. Shit with that is like it always reverts to some kind of a communism element. Because in the end of the day, money and all the economy is just words in the end. It's just like something has value because people think it has value. If majority of people who are like workers and people with jobs get screwed, they might say fuck all this, right? Like, okay, I need something better than this. You will not decide what I can have. So if there is ultra rich people, very select few owns everything, people decide, fuck you, you don't own anything, right? Because in the end of the day, they need people. People are the one who does actual labor. They need factories. They need all this shit. You don't just say like, okay, I'm a $200 billion man. What does that mean? You have employees. They work for you. If they say, fuck you, I don't work for you. Shit like that also always goes down the drain. So the problem is if this becomes too extreme, it will like spring effect. It will revert back to communistic mentality. Like what about the, power for the people, socialism / communism? Who knows where it goes, right? So that's the thing, like there needs to be a balance of that, right? This is why people, a lot of philosophers always say like capitalism needs to be checked. Because if it goes out of hand, it will crash. And the problem with that is capitalism is the best thing we have right now compared to everything else. Capitalism is the reason why countries are getting rich. Poverty is going down slowly. So that needs to survive, man.
Alternative. The Democrats have had a decade to work out how to defeat Trump and the far-right populism, and half of that time they were in power, and they didn't even come close. Well, a chilly day here to say the least, but that doesn't seem to have dampened spirits for the many people who have travelled across the...
Yeah, okay. Okay, news cameras on. Yeah, there was some rant, Trump 2.0. Was he a news guy who just started to do his own shit based on how he's talking? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know who he is, right? He's a 1 million subscriber by now. He's back, and this time he means business. He's talking about Trump. Yeah, there was a lot of good points there, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what the next shit happens and what another rant Jonathan Pye gives. But yeah, alright, well, if you like my Rick, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.